by a raise of hands, I want to see who here has ever had or has an addiction of any kind. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. So we all have something in common. And all our things, all our addictions, whether it's drugs, alcohol, food, sugar, sex, pornography, whatever the addiction you have, whatever, it has a commonality as well. Well, a couple, as far as I know, and I'm not an expert, but one of them is dopamine. Who here has heard of dopamine? Cool. A few. I thought I knew what it was, but then when you're asked to explain it, you're like, what is that really? And the best definition my husband and I came up with today, who's being a paparazzi right now, that's not awkward, is that it's feel-good brain juice. So it's like this thing in your brain, but you have a baseline running through your body at all times. You also have this like reservoir of extra dopamine. And whenever you either anticipate something or you experience or consume something that's pleasurable, some of the dopamine dumps out and you get this little high and you feel really good for a bit. Then it drops below your baseline and you're left looking for the next like rebound. But your reservoir is not endless and it does run out after a while. But that's what's feeding this cycle of addiction, that we just keep going back to these things that cause these spikes. And eventually over time, it just becomes this only thing. It's the only thing that you're getting pleasure from. And the other things that naturally boost your dopamine, like exercise and nutritious food and sleep, these other things, they don't do it anymore. And that's like this trap of all addiction. So when I was 15 years old, 100 years ago, I smoked my first cigarette, and whenever I had the call to do this, I was like, Lord, I hate when you make me do this. It's super awkward. Okay, you're in charge. I'll do it. But I was like, these people are not going to take me seriously. Like the people I've met in this community, I've struggled with things like heroin and cocaine and alcoholism and these things that can overtly ruin your life or land you in prison. And nicotine, tobacco, perfectly legal. I could walk into a store and buy it right now. It's not going to obviously immediately ruin my life. But the thing is addiction. And when I first had that first cigarette, it's like I opened this door for like this demon to sink his claws into my brain. I didn't even think demons were real back then. And I couldn't shake it for my whole life. And whether you know me or not, even before Jesus, it was completely incompatible with every other aspect of my life. I'm like, and I'm not boasting, we only boast in Christ. I'm like the poster child for natural, healthy living. Like shoes are uncomfortable. You know, I spend all my days growing our own organic food. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. I'm a personal training specialist. I played every sport available to me as a kid, and then as an adult, upped my game and went elite. Like I have stood on world stages bringing home hardware on ribbons. And the whole time, how did I do that? I also have this genetic gift in my lungs. Like I've got the lungs of 2 girls, so I kind of afford to damage them, I guess. But still, I would go and compete in like the elite nationals. Sometimes I would even win. And on the way home, I'd buy a pack of smokes and smoke it and then throw it away and then, you know, train for worlds. Like it was always there. And there was nothing that I could do. I quit a million times. Talk to any smoker. How many times have they quit? And I would relapse. And sometimes I would quit for a couple years and I would relapse because you know what? The devil works in cycles, man. He's not super creative. And there was nothing else that could hook me and trap me and imprison me the way that could. And why? And I was thinking about this. Probably he was attacking this gift that I was given of this. If you know what a VO2 max is, it's mostly genetic. It's your lung capacity. Mine was tested as an elite athlete and it's ridiculous. And I'm not boasting, but like freakishly high. The other thing is that one of the names of God is Yahweh. Who knows that we added the vowels so that we could say it? So it's actually YHWH. And the way that you pronounce that is by breathing. that's the name of God. And so these attacks, I feel like these attacks on our lungs, these addictions on our lungs, that's hijacking us. I'm no longer walking around breathing the name of my Lord. And he wasn't even my Lord at the time. Anyway, so I'm kind of rambling, but so I struggled with it my whole life, probably like any other smoker. And it was just so against everything I stood for. And I didn't even stand for Jesus at the time. And then in January 2017, it's weird that you mentioned that too. I quit smoking, hurrah. Not actually. I traded it in for this little USB stick straight from hell. I started vaping because back then it was being marketed as the healthier option to help you quit smoking. No, it's just another step deeper into the same prison. And a few months after, probably May 2017, you guys met me that summer, but probably May, I had this radical, supernatural, amazing awakening to God. He's real. Oh my gosh. And then my whole life changed. And I was still vaping. So now it's not compatible with the physical health poster child that I am. Just naturally, I wasn't trying to be. That's just how I was. I had this intrinsic knowledge that you're to take care of your body before I knew it was a command in the Bible. So now all of a sudden I'm walking with Jesus and I know I'm supposed to take care of my body. And I know this is in violation to how he designed me. So now I've got this spiritual guilt on my shoulders too, on top of the fact that I know this is wrong. And for the past 8 years, has it been 8 years? I am 8 years old in Jesus. For the past 8 years, it has still been a battle. And I even hid it because I was ashamed of it, because it went against being this healthy kid and it went against being a follower of Christ. And it was ruining my life. Maybe not overtly the way a heroin addiction would, but it was like this spiritual spoke in my wheels and I couldn't get past it. But recently, I don't even know when, it wasn't even worth recording, probably within the last month, I was reading the book of Romans. Not for the first time, but you know how you've read something in the Bible and then you read it again later on and then all of a sudden the walls start to reverberate and you need to take off your shoes because you're in a holy place because God's speaking straight to your heart? That happened. And I don't know how, I find like the Christian protocol is read your Bible every day. I don't always do that. As a holistic nutritionist, I can tell you that some people practice alternate day fasting, which means they eat so much one day that they just do not eat the next day at all because they need the extra time to digest. Reading the book of Romans, probably last month, was like that. I would read it and be so full, I would just have to think about it for a day or two. And I just wouldn't open my Bible and I would just think about what I'd read. And if I was a good preacher, I would have brought my Bible and read it to you. But in the second chapter, Paul is writing to the Roman brats and he says, do not mistaken his tolerance for acceptance. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. Because I would look at my life and I would look at the other aspects that were transforming very slowly and painfully. But the work he's been doing in me for the past 8 years, how much I've changed, hopefully for the better, slowly becoming more like Jesus. And I'm like, oh, he's still working with me. He's still releasing things through me to other people. He must not mind my little tiny habit that's packaged in this pretty little package and tastes like bubble gum. Must not be a big deal. Do not mistaken his tolerance for acceptance. And I was like, oh, this is not, I was feeling that call, I'm like, oh, here we go again. I got to quit again. He's bugging me about this again. And my husband has witnessed me quit so many times. I'm surprised we're still married. I would always go crazy and probably need a straitjacket. It was never pleasant. It was always a fight and really terrible. What I've learned about vaping specifically, I quit last year for 6 months and I never got up here to talk about it or confess that this was my fatal flaw. It's like I wasn't confident that it was actually over. And I was like 6 months and I was recording every day. Like, okay, it's been 4 weeks and 3 days. You're not free, man. You're still focused on that. And after tonight, I never want to talk about this again. It's over. But at 6 months last year, all of a sudden I went super dark. I got really super depressed, and then I walked right back into prison. Went out and bought a vape. What happened? And being a nerd, I researched it. Vaping specifically, it is not better than smoking. I think it might actually be worse because there's no beginning and there's no end and there's no stepping out of life to go outside for 5 minutes. It's just with you all the time in your pocket. I have vaped on airplanes. I have vaped in hospitals. Like, it's crazy. Those dopamine receptors. So the dopamine is, released in your body when you do haul on your little vape. Where it attaches to, how it affects you, it hits those receptors the same way as meth. It takes 14 months for your brain to recover from that, to get back to normal. And I was at 6 months last year. I'm in like this super dark place and I'm like, I can't do this for 8 more months. Yeah, Calah, you can't do anything. That's why you are supposed to rely on Jesus. And I know this, and I, didn't. Anyway, back to Romans. So he's not accepting this, So then a couple of days later, maybe a week, it took me like a week to get to chapter 6 and maybe go read chapter 6. But the things that stuck with me was like, oh, I'm dead. It says I'm dead. I am dead to sin. That's cool. But it said, sin is a dethroned monarch, and you are not obligated to answer its call. And I was like, oh, what? Like, what? That means there's going to be a call. I'd hear these stories of freedom from people where they just instantly got delivered and it was never a struggle after. And the fact that every time I would quit, it would be a struggle and I would feel this tug. The tug is going to be there. You are not obligated to answer it. You can just say no. I was like, oh, this seems silly saying it, but it was so profound to me. And the other part, a little bit later on in that chapter, it says, choose who you serve carefully, because who you serve is going to own you. And sin, it leads to death, but he will lead you into perfect righteousness. And I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Oh dear, but I really like vaping. I really enjoy it. It doesn't even affect my freakishly genetically gifted lungs. Oh, all right. So one day I just said, I just threw up my hands. All right. I'm going to stop this thing. I'm going to stop it, but not because I don't like it. I really enjoy it. And not because I'm trying to gain any health benefits from stopping. I'm not trying to save any money. I'm not trying to save my image. I'm going to stop this because you said to. Because you want me to. I don't even want to. But I'll do it for you. So you're going to have to make this easier on me. And while you're at it, can you please reset my dopamine receptors? And that was it. And it was like those immediate shifts that I've heard people talk about, that one moment with God that changes everything. It took me 8 years to get there. And my neighbor has been asking about vaping. She's a hardcore smoker. And I was like, she doesn't know Jesus. I've preached to her endlessly. I'm still working on her. But she's been asking about vaping. And I was like, well, I feel weird about throwing things away, as great as it is to throw vapes away. I've done that a million times. But I was like, well, okay. So I packed it all up in a little bag and I messaged her and said, yo, do you want my vape stuff? Like, if you don't want it, I'm throwing it away. But, so she came over later that morning to get it. So it sat packed up in this little bag with all the other things and the equipment and the juice by my door. And it was over. I was like so surprised. And that even that Thursday, I didn't even care that it was sitting right there. Every other time I tried to quit, I'd be like vaping on the way to the dumpster. Help me, Lord. Throw it in the dump, right? And then I got rid of this stuff and we went paddleboarding, and the two, immediately my husband was like, this time's different. I was like, oh yeah. Like, he could tell right away. And the two big things that were really scary, every time I would quit, I would stop sleeping even more than I usually don't sleep. I'm not huge on sleeping, but I would stop sleeping and I would want to eat the whole world. I've been sleeping right through the night, like more than ever, like a normal person, like 8 solid hours. That's so foreign to me. And I've not wanted to eat the world. And it's just done. It's just like on his shoulders and it's done. And it's amazing. And he's amazing. And I just wanted to tell you all of this because addictions are addictions. They're all straight from hell. And he will fight for you. You just have to let him. I couldn't believe it was that simple. So God is so good. Vaping is so awful. And now I'm done. Thank you for listening.